show for you guys with my co-host Lorena. Tonight we're going to be answering viewers' questions about the theme of ancient Aztec.
This includes the trading paths and the remaining landmarks of the ancient Aztec people.
The first question we have is from Kate, who lives in Los Angeles. If I want to start walking somewhere along the vertical trade routes, where is a reasonable place I can start?
Well, a reasonable place for you to start, Kate, would be on the Andes Mountains. Most people who traveled on the Andes Mountains use llamas, and we actually have a clip of us in Peru on the Andes Mountains on the vertical trade route.
We're here in Peru today. It's 99 degrees outside. There's a heat wave.
There's white everywhere because there was a rice farm explosion on the terrace farms on the Andes Mountains.
And we're back. Well, wasn't that a very interesting video? So back to the question about the vertical trade routes. Why do people travel on llamas?
Well, most people don't know this, but llamas are able to travel long distances without water, and usually no llamas means no trading.
Well, I personally never knew that. That is very interesting. This next question is from Lucy from Kansas. The Aztec marketplace is a big trade network. If I was someone trading in this market, how would I get there and how much money should I bring?
Well, the markets were located in the center of communities, which made it easier for people to get to, so you could walk there or travel on a llama. Also, the markets provided opportunities for people to trade information about other countries and regions.
Well, this next question is from George from California. Almost always when people speak about the Aztec marketplace, they include the Pochecas. Who are they and why are they so important at this time?
Pochecas were long-distance traders. They had a special place in the Aztec society. They were the highest rank and they oversaw the younger ones. The Tlatlani was the second rank and they were the slave traders. And the third-class traders worked for rulers by carrying out personal trade.
We have a question from Richard from Seattle, Washington. He asks, where was the Inca Empire located and who created it?
Well, the Inca Empire was located in the South American country of Peru. It ran along the Pacific coast and Andean highlands from the northern border of Ecuador. There were over 1 million inhabitants of the Incan descent. Manco Capac established the Incan Empire in 1438 and later declared himself the divine son of the sun.
This next question is from Peyton from Denver, Colorado. He asks, what was the Inca's official language and how do we even know any of their history?
The official language of the Inca was Quechuan. The Quechuan language is also known as Runasimi. We know so much about the Incan history because of the stories passed down through many generations from the stories of father to son.
And now we have a question from Bruno from Los Angeles. He asks, when did the Inca Empire fall?
The Inca Empire fell in 1535 because it was overtaken by the Spanish people from Europe. The Spanish arrived in 1532, but when the Inca leader caught the smallpox epidemic and died, they were able to easily take over the Incan land.
Our next question is from Aaron, who is from San Francisco. He wants to know, are there any interesting information or facts that I should know?
An interesting fact you should know is the Inca originated in the village of Pacaritampu. Another interesting fact is the Inca had skills in art, poetry, carving, and music.
One of our last questions is from Colin in Omaha. He asks, what kind of gods did the Incas worship?
The Incas worshipped many gods and goddesses, but the major god they worshipped was Viracocha, the god of nature, also called the creator. The Incas also worshipped lesser gods, such as the gods of thunder, moon, rain, and stars.
Our final question is from Maria, who is actually from our live streaming audience. Let's bring her out.
Hola, me llamo Maria. My grandparents tell me stories about their ancestors who were Pochtecas during the ancient Aztec time period. Would you be able to perform a reenactment for me? It would help me understand how things worked and get a better understanding for my upcoming project.
Well, Maria, you're in luck because we have a special guest from Peru who will do the reenactment with me, and Kayla will translate after because we'll be speaking in Spanish to make it seem as real as possible.
Hola Catalina,
Hola, hola.
¿cómo estás?
Estoy bien. ¿Y tú?
Estoy bien. Me gustaría comprar los naranjes.
Claro. ¿Cuántos vas a pagar por las naranjas?
Voy a pagar 5 pesos y un animal. Gracias.
No hay nada.
As we have just seen a reenactment between Lorena and Catalina, would you like to explain what has just happened?
Well, Lorena proceeded to introduce herself to me, and I introduced myself to Lorena.
And Catalina gave me this bowl of oranges, and I gave her a deer and 5 pesos, and 5 pesos would be worth 35 cents today in US dollars.
Well, isn't that wonderful?
Wow, that clip was very informational. It gave me a way better understanding of Pochtecas and trading.
Well, thank you for being on our show.
Thank you.
So we are getting close to the end of the show, but before we can even think about trading any food, we need to know where it comes from.
The Incas created flat sides in mountains and called it terrace farming.
They were actually the first ones to create this. The terrace farming helped from rainwater from falling off.
It also reduced erosion, so the Incas were able to grow more food than necessary. Because of this, they dried their food and stored it in their homes for times of war and famine.
Thank you for watching Telemundo.
Este es Telemundo!